You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. Because it matters.
What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. It is Thirsty Thursday, and of course, we are here giving you all the news about the Dallas Cowboys. And we have some interesting news here. It sounds like, here was the worry that we had about Dan Quinn, and when Dan Quinn was doing his tour, that Micah Parsons seemed to be the guy who really and truly wanted to bring him back. He was like, where Dan goes, maybe he'll take me with him and so on and stuff. And things that Micah Parsons says, people listen. It's like E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. For those of you that are old like me that understand that saying right there. But when the Eagles fans, for example, in Philly 500, saw Micah Parsons in a 76ers shirt, he thought for sure that he is going to be a future Eagles player. But we've got a little bit of news from Micah Parsons, okay? And it sounds like Micah Parsons is buying in with Mike Zimmer, and he's also buying in with making sure that CeeDee Lamb comes back. As far as CeeDee Lamb, he says he understands about the Cowboys need to focus in on CeeDee Lamb's contract, and Micah Parsons, understands that, and he's like, come March, we'll talk about it, see where they are and things like that. But he doesn't seem to be in a rush. And in fact, he said, I'm not going to rush the process. I'm just going to enjoy the process and keep working until it's time, which may actually be good because a few days ago, I did do a video and said, if the Cowboys are going all in, it may be better to wait on Micah Parsons' contract, because what they can do is, they can use the fifth-year option. They put the fifth-year option on it that gives them another year that they can hide some of the money. But currently, his cap number this year is only $5 million, which is really, really low. It's going to be hard to get his number reduced below that. So here's the thing. You go through, CeeDee Lamb's is almost $18 million because of the fifth-year option. You can reduce his number by getting him a long-term deal, as well as Dak Prescott. And I think that Micah understands this as well. He had hoped, and this is where this article goes on further, just going off the track record and what I'm seeing, he's done really well in his career, said Parsons. From what I hear, he's a very good coach. I'm excited to meet him and to see what he's planned for our future. I think he's a top-notch defender in each period with the Cowboys. I think he's a top-notch defender in each of the periods with the Cowboys. So I'm really going to be excited. So there you have it, along with, I think it takes collectively. This is what, the one thing that I will say more than anything is the share of the blame going around. We don't have people pointing fingers and saying this guy, that guy, and all that. Collectively, they all realize that they're part of the problem and thus part of the solution. So this is where this other point that Micah makes is really, really, really good. I think it takes a collective group and everyone being brought in. You'll remember in 2020 when you had, Jalen Smith and guys talking about the defense was too complex and, this, that, and the other. They hadn't bought into it. From the higher-ups to the coaches to the players to the practice squad, it doesn't matter who you are. I think everyone needs to be locked in. Everyone needs to buy in, and it starts with OTAs. How many people are we going to get in there and learn this new system? And see, that's the part that's key in there. How many people are we going to get in there and learn the new system? One good thing about the Cowboys is most of the players all live in Dallas. That's not the case in all locations. players that live in Buffalo during the season, they don't always live in Buffalo off the season. The same thing about Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers would always go off to Cali as soon as the season's over and doesn't like to come back for OTAs. But the Cowboys typically don't have to put in their contracts workout bonuses, because the workout bonuses are to entice the players to come work out, and the voluntary OTAs and things. Those are bonuses to try and entice them to come back into town to get that work in, as opposed to the Cowboys, which most of them are gym rats and live in the Dallas area. So for them, they usually have some of the highest participation in voluntary OTAs. Now, the bigger question is, and this is where I say, who we get. Because for more than anything else, you're hearing the team crying out for more reinforcements. You've heard Micah Parsons saying, even though Micah Parsons got trashed by Jesse Holley because he's not elite in two positions, but he can only play one of those positions at a time. So you still had a hole someplace else. What we need is Micah Parsons to be the best player he can at one position and have really good players in all of the positions. And that means going and dipping into the deep end at linebackers. Mike Zimmer, his defense is predicated on great linebacker play. We're not going to be able to get away with the bullshit that we've had where we'll just take a safety and make him. And, as much as people want to blame Dan Quinn did the best he could with what he had. He didn't have any linebackers, so he had to make do with what he had. Now, I am, for one, hoping and praying that Jerry Jones is actually all in, although the all-in statement may have been more of to Dan Quinn to say we're going all in to entice Dan Quinn to come back. To if Dan Quinn's thinking, okay, they're going to go ahead and get me, a couple of linebackers and a defensive lineman so I can really do something with this defense. That's maybe what that statement was for. Or maybe Jerry Jones actually is going to go all in. I don't know, but I hope that they at least put up some kind of an effort. I honestly believe that a team that is 12-5, sometimes getting there with smoke and mirrors, that you're close enough that you should say, let's do more to get there. See, for me, I don't understand the Joneses, because I'm one of those ones that I've always told my wife, listen, a little bit of praise for me goes a long way. Because when you do that, I'm looking for more praise, which means I'm going to work even harder to get that. Here on YouTube, when I start having some success, I don't just kind of kick back and say, oh, that's good. I go ahead and try and work even harder to take it to another level. And that's where the Joneses should look at this and say, we're not a 5-12 team. We're a 12-5 team. We're close. We're trying to compete with these guys, and we don't need a whole lot. It's not like we're saying you got to go out and get 10 players in free agency. 3 or 4 may be enough to get you over the hump. So let's trust the process. Oh, God, did I say that? No. Let's just hope it all works out. All right, good people. I'll see you soon.